Welcome to our August Redden District feedback video. We've all recovered now after the open day and you'll hear more about that later. We got some cracking fish pictures to share with you despite less than ideal conditions for fishing with this heat wave and low water, and obviously we'll have the usual reports from Del on what's been happening with our fisheries team and from Jim on fishing prospects for the coming month of September. So let's get on with it. Well, Del, fisheries report. So what have you and Jim been up to beside the open day?
Yeah, well, this time of the year we're sort of normally cutting and just maintaining the status quo sort of thing, you know, but nothing's growing. So we've been a bit thin on the ground. We've been scratching around looking, but there's always something to do. But you know, we've been really having to search quite hard for things to do. So it'll change once it starts raining, I'm sure. Well,
talking of rain, I noticed behind us the water levels have dropped again in Wilmots. You've been having pumps to keep the water levels up, haven't you?
We've been, you know, we've got a lot of fishing in Wilmots, and not only, you know, will they use a lot of oxygen, we need the volume of water in there because it's the last in the line, if you like. Flint is the sump for the whole area. Everything drains into Flint, and then consequently everything drains into Wilmots, and it's just not draining in there. So we're having to rob Peter to pay Paul, you know, borrowing water from the main lake, the main Flint lake for Wilmots and Callows, and we're borrowing water from Engerfield into Brownlee. So that's the last couple of weeks, all what we've been doing really.
Well, at least it's keeping the fish healthy, and we're praying for rain, yeah?
Yes, yeah, exactly. We need some rain, but we don't want it all in one dump. That's the thing.
Well, I'll have a word with the man.
Yeah, good.
Talking about the weather, we had that wildfire. That was a consequence of the heat wave as well, wasn't it? So what occurred then?
Well, it seems like some young lads, and I say young lads, it might be young lads and young girls, decided they'd have a barbecue.
Lovely.
And it's not the brightest idea to have a barbecue, especially when you're in the middle of a heat wave and things. Whether, you know, it got out of hand and they done the off or whatever, or they just left it smouldering and it just went away, nobody will ever know. But
so you didn't have to put the fire out, but you had to open the access for the fire engines?
Blimey, that would have taken a few buckets for me to do it. Yeah, we just basically had to look after the fire engines, etc., let them all in.
This is Cottage Lane, yeah?
Yeah, let them all in through the barriers and what have you. It was a bit of a panic for about half an hour or so, but then it all sort of settled down a little bit. And we, you know, just run around giving them bottles of water, believe it or not. But I mean, one of the big eye-openers and big respect to them fire boys. I mean, I actually went out, once the fire was sort of done and they were dampening down, I actually went out into the field, and boy, that's a job I don't want to do.
They earn their money.
Yeah,
guys,
don't they just?
Well, you know, thank goodness it wasn't worse, because I mean, we got the electricity substation up Cottage Lane. If that had gone up, we would have all known about it, wouldn't we?
Half of Whitley would have been without power.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So yeah, it would have been horrendous. You wouldn't have seen my backside for dust because there's a lot of gas being stored on that site. So I'd have been gone.
I bet. Now, you came up with this idea of having a kind of artist's impression of the Pingewood complex. And you actually contacted a friend of mine, Jane Tomlinson, to produce it. I've seen a copy of the picture. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Tell us what the thinking was behind that and where you're going to install this artwork.
Well, we're going to stick them. There's going to be one down by the calf. There's going to be two up at the Brownlee and one over at Pingewood. And it's just I mean, wherever you go, sort of country park sort of things, you know, there's little routes and little pictures, and I think it's just a nice sort of finishing touch to what we've sort of created over here. You know, I'm proud of what we created over here, and this is almost sort of like a celebration of that, if you like. And you know, Jane, she's done us proud. I mean, what a great job that is. You know, really good. And you know, if anyone wants any prints, then you know we can sort that out at a later date. That's not a problem. But yeah, I think it's just the final finishing touch to it all.
And as I understand it, the plan is we're going to have a really nice sort of name plate for each of the lakes on the complex.
Yeah. And
then there's going to be this interpretation board at various locations. And then you're talking about putting a bit of text either side of it?
Yeah. Well, again, you know, Redden District's been around for a long, long time, you know, and the names of these ponds actually mean something. We don't just pluck them out of the air. You know, they're past, you know, people that have passed that used to do things within the association and what have you, and we don't want that to be forgotten. So, you know, we're going to sort of explain why the ponds are called what they are. A little brief history of Redden District, which is actually quite fascinating, to be honest. And like I say, we've been around for such a long time, and we don't celebrate it enough, you know. And over here, it's got more of a sort of country park feel to it these days, and it's a community. We're making a community, and this is all part of it.
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative, and of course the original painting is our property, and that's going to be where are you planning on framing and hanging that?
Well, we'll have a copy in the hut, and I'm hoping that the powers that be will allow me to have the original in my office.
Why not? Why not? Okay, one last thing really. Open day, we've done a lovely video of what occurred. Your reflections for next year, you certainly want to do it again, and you want it bigger and better?
Oh, of course, you know, there's only one way, and that's up, you know. Yeah, I mean, it was hard work. We had sort of 5-6 weeks tops to organise it and get it all off, and you know, it was damn hard work. It was damn hard work, but on the day I sort of took a couple of minutes occasionally and sort of just hid away in the bushes having a roll or whatever, and sort of had a look around me, and it turned out really, really good, just exactly how I wanted it. But next year it's going to be better. There's going to be a few changes to a certain few things. We'll probably move the date around a little bit just to make things easier for people, holidays, things like that. Yeah, and just keep an eye on Facebook and everywhere else, and you know, be there or be square. Simple as that.
Well, I certainly didn't pick up any negative feedback at all, and I think for a first attempt, you know, without patting ourselves on the back too much, I think we've done good.
Yeah, I reckon we did. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, well, we'll have a look at some of the fish pictures that are coming up now, and of course we've also got some of them were taken at the open day. So let's roll the gallery. Well, I don't know about you, Del, but given the heat wave, given the less than ideal conditions we had for fishing, I was really surprised at the scope and scale of some of the pictures that have come up this year. There's been some half decent fish. Sorry, this month there's been some half decent fish caught.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised when you emailed all the photos over to me. I thought we were a bit thin on the ground. Obviously, it's been a long month this month, but yeah, I mean, some of the fish have been, you know, outstanding, really.
Yeah, considering the conditions.
Considering the conditions, you know.
Well, let's start with an old favourite of ours, Martin Porter. Now, Martin has caught this lovely tench from Wylies, as we would have seen. Martin's been a real stalwart. He turns up to almost every Friday club, and I was really pleased to see him back fishing again because he had a bit of a break from it. So, you know, fair play to Martin for getting one of those lovely big tench.
Exactly, you know, class is permanent. Simple as that, isn't it?
Well, I think so. Well, there's lots of other good pictures there, but we've got some youngsters really to mention, so it's really down to you to decide who's won.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult this month. Our Alfie. I mean, Alfie, he's been around. I mean, I think he spends more time over here than I do. Alfie and Rhys, they started coming over here. I think they were skipping school, but we'll keep that quiet. They started coming over here just after the lockdown, and you know, all the guys around here, and this is what I mean about sense of community. All the guys around here helped them out with tackle, helped them out, gave them tips and things like that. And they're now starting to catch some really decent fish.
Not from easy waters.
No, exactly. You know, and hats off to the pair of them. You know, they've listened, they've learned, and now they're really starting to become anglers in their own right. You know, so absolutely hats off to those two. And Isabella, I mean, well, who can't fall in love with that? You'd have to have a heart of stone if you didn't like that photo. I mean, that is just brilliant. We all remember our first fish, and she'll remember that for the rest of her days.
Well, and she caught it on our open day from Callows, and it was a tench rather than the usual little perch. So I mean, she's done well.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't split the three of them,
no,
to be honest. So I think what we'll do is we will give each of them a hat. And then what we'll do is we'll split some of the bait up. We'll throw a bit more in, and we'll sort some bait out and bits and pieces for them. So if the three of you could message me at some point, and then tell me where I need to send it and this, that and the other, and then we'll get some stuff to you.
So congratulations to Isabel, to Rhys, and to Alfie. We've got 3 joint winners. This is a rare moment. Dale Shackleford is not normally this generous, I can assure you, but congratulations to you all. You're our monthly winners for the fishing picture competition. Well done. Hope you catch some even bigger fish in the future. Right, fishing prospects for September. We've got Jim here, our Deputy Fisheries Officer. Jim, difficult conditions, but what would you recommend this time of year?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult conditions at the moment. From what I've heard, chatting with a few guys at the moment, a lot of the river venues are fishing quite well for silvers at the minute, and there's been plenty of roach showing as well, and they're definitely having the hemp at the minute, so that's definitely worth a good shout. And around the big pits, I've been walking around the pits recently, and a lot of the swims I'm walking into, I'm seeing tench fizzing right in the edge, so definitely the tench are going to be up there this month.
And carp fishing. I mean, sometimes August is the doldrums, and they can pick up again in September. I'm hearing that, the carp anglers don't want to tell you much, but I'm hearing there's been some good fish coming out over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, all our big pits have been producing carp, big ones, that's for sure. Yeah, this weekend over at Flint and Pingewood as well, they fished very well this weekend, and I'm sure Wisley Mill has as well. The carp at the moment, they're moving around the margins, so you want to be on your toes a lot of the time. I see a lot of guys just sitting in swims all day long and expecting to catch. If the fish aren't there, you're not going to catch them, so keep on your toes, keep moving around. And Cottage Lane is definitely another one. If you want evenings fishing, go and catch a few carp. Cottage Lane's the one at the minute. They're really having it down there.
Going back to the tench, and I know it's one of my favourite fish, so I'm biased, but we had this picture submitted of that baby tench from Wisley Mill. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because we've talked before about the tench recruiting behind us here in Wilmots, in Brownlees and in Callows, which is great. We know they recruit well in Flint anyway. We never have to stop Flint with tench. But Wisley Mill is one of those big old gravel pits, normally pretty poor for recruitment. So to see baby tench coming through in Wisley Mill is an encouraging sign for the future, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And hopefully a few of those tench can stay in there and grow on to be monsters, hopefully.
And finally, as we come into autumn, obviously you and I both like targeting the big perch. Assuming we get a bit of rain over in the coming months and the rivers pick up and freshen up a bit, if you were going to seek perch on either the Thames or the Kennet, where would you head for?
Definitely Wallingford's a good shout on the Thames. Yeah, every time I've sort of fished Wallingford in the past, most swims I've been fishing in, there's always been sort of perch showing in the edge and taking the small stuff. And all of our Kennet venues, especially the canals as well, for the guys drop shotting and that, our canal venues are exceptional for the perch fishing.
And then one tip I would offer people is look at those confluent swims, look at those areas where the canal and river join, and that is often good hunting grounds for perch.
Certainly once we get this first sort of drop of rain, those confluences are going to be the ones where the smaller fry and that, they're going to push out of the main flow and they're going to be sitting on them confluences, and the perch won't be too far away.
No, they're not far from the prey fish, are they?
No, that's it.
Well, that's it, Jim. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and let's hope we got some great fish to report next month.
Yep, I'm sure they'll be out there. Go find them.
Okay, that's a wrap. That's it from us. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a really good September. Catch some big fish and tight lines.